Hey, we are live. Welcome to the Productivity Academy weekly Q&A. This is number 52, and I am Adam Moody with the Productivity Academy. Coming to you live, this time on the road. I'm in an Airbnb rental. I'm currently on Long Island, New York, and enjoying a little bit of travel while dealing with a head cold. And, it's kind of interesting. I actually wrote something today on the page and in the group about that. And there is really nothing worse in my mind, or just about nothing worse, than getting sick while traveling. So I've been thinking a little bit about that, about the things I can or things I should do better about traveling. One of those being things like using multivitamins. I usually try to take one of those. I forgot to bring those with me. So adding that to my pack list that I have that I can then use as like a template. So I need to add that on there so I don't forget those. And then a couple other things as well that, what can be better done to, keep me healthy and make sure that things work well while I'm traveling. So anyways, real quick, that was a little bit of insight into what's going on my end. But if you haven't yet and you're watching this live, thanks for joining the group. And be sure to ask questions during, or you can ask before and I'll answer them. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button, stay up to date with obviously these Q&As, reviews, updates about apps, processes, all that sort of stuff. And then also there will be a link down below so you can come join us live if you want to ask questions and get them answered. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking we've got two good questions here. The best things to outsource for effective use of time. Very good question and very important. And then how do you stay on the same tasks for long periods of time? So those are both, I think, very good questions. They both come from members of the Productivity Academy. So let's start with the first one first. So the best thing to outsource for effective use of time, I think that, again, this is going to be kind of a framework of where you want to start looking. So usually a lot of times I think you'll have a pain point, and that's a really good time to know when to hire. So that answers that question of like, well, when should I hire someone, or when should I get an assistant, or how should I do this? You'll generally know either, I don't have enough time, or things aren't getting done, or I'm having to, work with my schedule. That's the pain point. Figure out what it is and move forward. But as far as the best things to outsource, I found our time sucks. Okay. And I just mean that in the sense of there's things that have to be done, right? And that's why you're doing them. And that's why you consider hiring someone. But if you've got these things where you're spending half an hour, and it's just doing something, it's not, making a sales call, it's not organizing a team, it's not directly helping you grow or adding to the bottom line, then that is an excellent indicator that would be a great thing to outsource. Now, of course, there's more to it that you need to look at, and a lot of that is, does it have a process? And I talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people I've worked with, you think, this is unique, or I do this, I'm not sure what the process would be, but if it's anything you're doing regularly, you can build a process around it. And so even if you don't think it's highly structured, maybe do a screen capture of watching yourself do it. Or if it's something physical, like putting together a binder, or, doing something like that, literally put up a camera and, record yourself doing it and watch it. Is there, something you can do that you could show someone to make them able to do it? And maybe it takes some training, maybe it's more complicated. But a lot of these things we think of as these really customized, really unique tasks, and, can be broken down. Okay, so just make sure though that there are some, because again, if it's, literally building your business, that's generally not something you outsource, which hopefully goes without saying. But I know a lot of times we can get in the process of, handing things off, and sometimes we need to take a step back and make sure we're really communicating the process as well. And then some other best things to outsource for effective use of your time are non-unique ability tasks. So this is, I'll have to include a link to this. I believe it's Dan Sullivan, strategic coach, and then I believe there's some other people involved in it, and it's slipping my mind probably due to the head cold. But the idea just being, what are the things that you are, just amazing at, and what do you, that just energize your day, that you add value to? And that's different than just, I'm really good at this stuff, or I'm okay at it. So if you have things that maybe you're good at, but you need to free up time so you can do those things that just you would do maybe even, for free, or that you would, spend more and more time on, that you really bring the most to. So there's a couple of different ways of looking at that. And that's kind of the opposite side of saying earlier, what I was talking about was like time sucks and things that just take up a lot of your time. you're able to identify those, and then also saying, well, not just from a negative point of view, but looking at it from a positive point of view and saying, okay, well, I want to spend more time doing this stuff. That means anything that isn't this, then I should look at outsourcing. So I think that that's a good way to get started. And as far as how that works for you, it could be a list. It kind of depends for me, I think, where you're at. Have you worked with someone before? Have you had an employee? Have you had a virtual assistant? If you haven't done these things, then you might want to start small and understand how that works and that interaction, and build that up. So maybe start with one task, like a weekly task or a daily thing, something that they can take over, and then start building that up instead of saying, okay, I want to offload an entire division of work right now. Cool. All right. So the second question is, how do you stay on the same task for long periods of time? I think this is a really good question, and it's something that's becoming more and more important. For anyone who's read Deep Work, I think that that'll make a lot of sense. If you haven't read Deep Work, I'll include the link. Please check it out. It's a great book. And the idea just being, not summarizing the entire book, but the idea being the longer that you can stay on task and really focus on whatever's at hand, that the outcome is that much better. And it's not just linear. It's not like, well, I worked for 2 hours and that's equivalent to working 2 1-hour blocks. Saying that 2-hour block is going to be better than just 2 1-hour individual blocks over a period of time. And the reason being that you're able to spend more time focusing on one subject or one area or one project, and that focus is going to result in a better outcome. I totally believe that. I certainly think you can switch, your attention at certain points, and you have to throughout the day. But over time, building up that capability of working and focusing for longer periods of time will really pay off. So I think the number one thing to do here is to block distractions. And whether you're, at a point of just saying, wow, I want to work more, but I don't understand exactly how this works, just start simple. Your phone is a major distraction. Put it out of reach, turn it off. Don't put it in your pocket. Don't put it right in front of you. Other things might be noises or sounds. Before I started recording this, there was an air conditioner running. Go and turn that off. I don't want that kicking in and throwing me off while I'm trying to talk. So noises are obviously another good one that you can do. You can wear a pair of headphones. If you're in an office, you need to work with those around you, but you could ask, hey, from 9 to 10:30, can I, please be left alone? I'm working on X, Y, and Z. And if I had that time to focus, the results are going to be much better. The caveat there is your work does need to be good when you're doing that. You can't just work on other things. So blocking distractions, I think, is very important. Also, to work these blocks of time, it's really uncommon these days, right? We don't generally have hours of uninterrupted time where we're not getting an email, we're not getting a phone call, we're not thinking about something else. So you need to schedule this ahead of time. So start putting it into your calendar. If that's recurring, that's great. That's a great way to get started, and then start extending it. But putting that into your calendar and making it a thing is another step, and that's both for you mentally, and then if you're using that calendar for any other scheduling or interactions, then that becomes very important. Let's say you sit down, maybe you're sitting down at a table or a desk just like I am, and you're getting ready and you say, okay, well, it's that time, I'm going to work for 90 minutes straight. Take 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, pull out a piece of paper or pull up a note-taking app, and write down, if you don't already have this done from previous weeks, what you're going to work on. What are your top 3 goals? Okay. There should be just a handful of things that you're looking to get done during this work period. So what are they? And what are the actual actions? So, not make progress on project. That's not a goal. Let's say something like, put binder together with printed cover in color and, ready to be delivered tomorrow, something like that. But very action-oriented, using those words to help you realize what are the things that you actually need to accomplish. And then throughout that, if you're finding yourself, it's hard to focus, I also understand, like, I can't always work 90 minutes. So, set the timer for 30 minutes, work for 30 minutes. And then I find it's easiest to just physically, get up, walk around, go do something else. If you work at a computer a lot, it's nice to reduce the eye strain. So go take a walk outside, go shoot hoops, whatever it is, maybe walk around the block, and then come back and sit down. And again, it's important that you minimize your distractions. I try not to use the phone during that period. I know that's difficult, but too often, you say, well, I'll just use it for 5 minutes, but that turns into, checking your email, and then you get sidetracked. So just be aware that, if you're using the Pomodoro technique, that you just, you schedule those breaks, you take a break, you do something else, minimize your distractions, just let your mind kind of go, let yourself relax, and then come back to it. And the last thing I would recommend is once you wrap up the time, set a timer, end it when you're supposed to, but make sure you leave a few minutes there. So maybe set the timer a few minutes early and review. Did you hit your goals? And especially, is there any outstanding things that you didn't accomplish that you want or need to? And if that's the case, that's fine. Then in that next period of time that you have, or if you don't have it regularly recurring, start and schedule that next time where you can get those things done, and make sure that they're action items. Again, not vague, using that SMART goal idea, make them specific, measurable, things like, write one 500-word article with, 2 images, things like that. Be very specific and let yourself know, and then that can roll into your next time and help you. Like I said, when you set goals at the beginning, that would be what you would review the next time as well. It's like, do I have anything that I've set as action items? Okay, I can grab those and then add to that. So hopefully that helps. I think that's a really good way to start staying on task for longer periods, and hopefully that is helpful to you. So again, if you haven't yet, come join us in the group. You can ask questions live. And if you would like to as well, you can hit subscribe, stay in touch, leave comments, all that good stuff. I do respond to comments and enjoy interacting with people and hearing what you think about the advice, about the app reviews, and anything else. So don't be a stranger, and I will see you next week.